Welcome, Nagina, to the Essentially You podcast. How are you doing today, girl?
I'm doing so awesome, Marisa. I'm just so excited to be here live with you. We're gonna have such a great conversation.
Oh my gosh, I know we are because we're talking about a topic that my ladies love to connect on, and that is metabolism, how to boost our metabolism. Because so many of us, I mean, even myself, I have been there where it just feels like it came to a screeching halt. And so I know that this is probably something you've encountered yourself, and I know you've helped thousands of women specifically boost their metabolism, especially. This is the caveat, especially when they are busy, especially when they're busy. And before we get into basically how we can do this, how we can boost our metabolism, how we can do it with literally just food, I would love for you to share kind of what was that defining moment for you when you knew that you wanted to do this work. You wanted to help women, feel like their bodies were working for them and really getting back into their zone.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, I had actually struggled with my body, with my metabolism, and with my sugar cravings for my entire life. I had always wanted to be able to be confident in my body, but no matter what I did, I never could quite get the body that I wanted. And I tried everything out there. I literally knew the calories of every single morsel that was going into my body. I tried all the diets out there, like Weight Watchers, Nutrisystem, Atkins, eating less and exercising more. And what would happen is that I would lose about 10 pounds or so. And then once I reached that goal, which was like it wasn't even in my full goal, I would feel this sense of restriction and I would start eating all the things that I wasn't allowed to eat that took me to that place. And I would end up gaining 10 or more pounds back. And so what happened is that I had struggled with this constantly and I was on the yo-yo diet for my whole life. And then I started working in a very demanding job. I was a management consultant for a top 4 firm. And then I had my first child. And then shortly after I had my second child. And as you can imagine, after kids, at that moment and I had just come out of working in a very busy job, I was at the maximum weight of my life. And how it really affected me in that moment and in those moments were that I thought about all the clothes in my closet that would feel so uncomfortable for me to get into. And I was not looking forward. It wasn't even an option for me to go out and buy clothes that were a bigger size. Now, the thing that really struck me is when one day I was sitting in my family room and my 2 children who were a toddler and a baby at the time were crying and screaming and they wanted to go outside and they wanted to play. And I was so exhausted. I actually had back pain in my body and I felt so uncomfortable and I definitely didn't have the energy to take them outside. And in that moment, I thought, this is not the life I want to live. I do not want to be the woman who is the tired mom, who is the low energy mom. I don't want to feel uncomfortable in my clothes. I want to feel confident in my body. And at that moment, something clicked in my brain and I said, I need to make a change and I need to make this fun because I want it to be sustainable. And the only way that I can make it sustainable is by making it fun. And so I started researching all of this material, all of this information, because I have a background in molecular and cell biology as my undergrad degree. I started reading all the scientific journals that I had subscriptions to. And I learned that instead of following the diet culture, what you could do is you could instead focus on boosting your metabolism by adding foods that are actually making your metabolism go faster. And so I started doing that. I started adding some of those things, and we'll talk more in detail about what those are. But what happened is that in 9 months, I lost 40 pounds and it all came off from eating. And I got into the best shape of my life, 20 pounds lower than I was when I got pregnant. And I, for the first time, went to the beach in a bikini and I felt so confident while I had 2 children. And so that transformation has now been here for 10 years. My youngest is 10 years old now, and it's only gotten better. I've gotten more toned. I've learned how to really boost my metabolism even more. And as a result of going through this journey, so many people were asking me, how did you do this? How did you lose 40 pounds? How do you look better after kids than before kids? And so that really got me to start creating my own blog, creating my own coaching program. And I'm no longer at that full-time job. I now have my own full-time business as a health coach for professional women, physicians, and entrepreneurs to get into the best shape of their life.
I love that. I think what I love so much about your story is one, that kind of defining moment where you're like, I'm not going to be the tired mom. Girl, amen to that. I'm not trying to be the tired mom either. We were talking about me being up since 4:30 this morning with our baby, and I'm like determined not to be the tired mom for sure, especially when you know you want to show up for your kids. And not just that, but I know that you've had so much purpose in the work that you do, right? We want to show up for our ladies, we want to show up for the women that we get to serve. But the other thing that really, really kind of like I was excited about was you're wanting to make it fun, right? That a lot of us, when we think about getting our bodies back in shape, or we think about weight loss, it just all feels like such a drudge. It all feels like so much work, and it's not going to be fun at all. Like that's not what you associate with losing weight as fun, not at all for most people. And then the other thing that I loved was that, the research in which you found ways in which to add things in versus subtract things. I know that there's probably some things that we could probably subtract in the process too to help boost our metabolism and help reduce inflammation. But adding things in is such a big win, and that you've been able to sustain it, right? That after many, many years of yo yo dieting, you've figured it out and you've been able to sustain that. And so, no wonder people are really curious to see what you've got going on. Real quick, just I know we're going to get into some, but what were a couple of the favorite foods that you added in that you found were metabolically boosting?
Okay, I'm so excited to talk about this. Now, the first thing that I did, and this was really a factor of me being a professional woman, also being a mom. And guess what the favorite part of my morning was, and probably is the same for many of those that are watching and listening, was my morning cup of coffee. And I really loved my cup of coffee. It was like, don't bother me if I'm having my cup of coffee, and don't come around until I've had it. And I, had started when the typical diets that I had seen, they had either told me to not have caffeine, or they had, or they had told me, like all of these things, like I wasn't allowed to have caffeine, or I had to change it or do these things. And I almost actually didn't start losing weight because I really, really treasured my cup of coffee. And so what I used to do with my coffee though, and this is kind of the thing that takes us down that road of your cup of coffee, it could become something that is more of like a sugary pick-me-up versus actually for the caffeine and for the feeling. So what I used to do to my coffee is that I used to have really thick French vanilla creamer. I would put 2 Splendas in there, and I would drink it and it would be my heaven. And so when I heard that I had to take coffee, I was like, I can't do that. But what I can do is lighten up the sugar that's in my coffee. And so what I found is that there's a quick hack that any one of us can use, and it quickly helps us replace sugar and start to store less fat. And that hack is by adding cinnamon into your coffee. And
Yes, please, girl, tell me more. I
yes.
love cinnamon in my coffee. It's the only thing I put in my coffee is cinnamon.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Really? That's so great,
Yeah,
Marisa.
for probably a decade now. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Girl,
amazing.
get into it because you know
Yes,
what?
yes.
This is what I love. I love this
Oh,
because
yes.
this is my
So
thing.
totally. So what cinnamon is it's a natural way to get your sweetness. It's not something that's artificial. It comes from our earth. Our ancestors used it thousands and thousands of years ago. And so what you do is you just sprinkle cinnamon in your coffee. And as a result, you get that sweetness that sugar gives you, but you don't get the insulin spike that sugar gives you. So usually if you're having sugar, what happens is your insulin is released and you store more fat. So that's what's happening. Now, when you use a cinnamon, that's not happening. You're still getting that sweetness, but your insulin isn't spiking and you're storing less fat. And with this one change, I started losing weight. That was when my journey began. Now, one quick thing is that if you're using artificial sweeteners like Splenda or, anything else that's out there, the thing about that is because they're artificial, they cause your brain to still be addicted to the taste of sweet. And when we're addicted to the taste of sweet, guess what? Normal foods like vegetables don't taste good to us. We don't want to eat vegetables. We're still we're on that hunt for that sweet kick from that artificial feeling. But when you're using cinnamon, it's a natural sweetener, and it actually lowers your blood sugar instead of keeping it the same or raising it. And so it's actually like a very, very easy, simple way to get started on your weight loss journey. And to this day, I still continue to drink coffee with cinnamon, and I've taken out the French vanilla creamer, I've taken out the other things, and I still love and savor my cup of coffee every morning. So that's one key thing, that's to add cinnamon.
I love that. I love and it's such an easy swap. Although I will say, so at our house, we take coffee very, very seriously. And, friends and family will come over and hang out with us. We have a full-on espresso machine. We grind our beans a little before. My husband is like the ultimate barista, but we've had the cinnamon swap for a very, very, very long time. And we don't have monk fruit sugar. We don't have stevia. We don't have any of that stuff in our house. My mom and my sister call my house the boring house. So we'll have our little coffee setup and we just have cinnamon. That's it. And we have a cassia cinnamon. I think it's a Saigon cinnamon. We have like 4 different types of cinnamon in our house. That's our favorite coffee cinnamon. It's ridiculous that we have that many cinnamons. But it's funny. It can take someone a little bit of time to get acclimated to it. We've just put cinnamon in people's coffee and they're just like, ugh, what is that? And I was like, it's good for you. That's what it is. So just note that it may take a hot minute my mom had a major addiction to her French vanilla creamer. And I was like, you've got to swap this out. It's not doing you any favors. That's how I talked to my mama. And so, but it was a big swap for her to have to do cinnamon instead of her creamer. She fought me tooth and nail, I'll tell you what. But now that she's done it, probably took her about a month to acclimate. She loves her new ritual. So I just wanted to speak into it because I've snuck the cinnamon on people before and they're just like, what did you just do to me? So
Oh my gosh. But that sounds amazing, Marisa. You have all those different cinnamons. Those all actually all have different, like there's different benefits. There's different things. If you're first getting started with cinnamon, just use the regular cinnamon, but there's so much out there and it really does bring a lot of joy and it's all natural. And then you're getting that feeling of
oh
sweet.
my
So
gosh,
yes.
yeah. Add cinnamon to berries. Don't even get me
Yes.
started on what you could put cinnamon in. We're always sprinkling cinnamon on stuff in our house.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. It's so great. Actually, if you do put it on berries, which is a low sugar fruit anyway, so it's already good for you. But if you put cinnamon on it, it actually lowers your blood sugar even more. And what this means is that we're storing less fat. It's more easy to lose weight because you're not storing as much fat. And it just starts happening really quickly after that.
I love
So,
it. Okay,
yes.
what's another superfood that you love? So I'm so glad you started with cinnamon. Clearly, I love me some cinnamon.
Okay, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So I have something else that's a really great superfood. It's a super combo. And so now I know also that I feel like I was in this situation where I would wake up and I would feel bloated when I would wake up in the morning. And then I would continue to have that bloating. And the reason that we have bloating is a lot of it is because the foods that we're putting into our body. There's other reasons as well, but a lot of it, a big majority of it is because we're putting foods that are causing us to have water retention and that are causing our bellies to stick out. You'll feel that pooch coming out. And it's actually not necessarily fat. A lot of it is bloating. And so one thing that I recommend that's going to cure that instantly is when you wake up and you have a glass of what I call infused debloating water. And when you wake up and have this infused debloating water, what you do is you create a water that has all of these ingredients that are meant and that are combined to debloat. So I'll give you an example of a water that I actually call flat tummy water. And my problem area was always my tummy. And this is amazing. But now after 2 children, I actually don't have that problem anymore. It's like this amazing revelation that's happened from some of the combinations of the things we're talking about today. And so an infused debloating water, what you do is the night before you fill up a jug of water with, the water that you usually drink. And then you take 1 lemon and you chop it. You just cut it in rounds. You keep the peel on. Now a lemon is really amazing because it detoxes your body. And also 1 lemon gives you 30% of your daily vitamin C, which is extremely important for immunity, especially right now. This is the thing we want. We want more vitamin C. So you add that 1 lemon in there. Then what you do is you chop a cucumber. Now, what a cucumber does is it has so much fresh water in it that it helps decrease water retention in your belly all over your body because it's cleansing your entire body with fresh water. And that's what happens. It's taking out the sodium that's sticking to your belly and to other areas of your body. So you have the cucumber, you have the lemon, and then what you do is you put it in the fridge. That's all the minimum is really for this water. You put it in the fridge and overnight it infuses. So then you wake up in the morning, you pour it into a glass, you feel like you're at a spa. Because, this is all about making ourselves feel good. This is not about restriction because restriction will only lead to you putting weight back on. But when you're actually waking up in the morning and drinking this cucumber lemon water, what you can do as a final touch is you can add a very, very tiny touch of cayenne pepper. tiny touch, meaning a very, very, like you don't even want to measure it. You just want to do a little quick thing. And you also could use paprika if cayenne is just over the top, because what that does is it has the compound called capsaicin, and capsaicin, it boosts your metabolism and it also curbs your appetite. So you're getting all of these benefits. So you're getting debloating that's happening from the cucumber, you're getting detoxing from the lemon, you're also getting metabolism boosting, and you're curbing your appetite, all from this morning water. And then you follow that with the cinnamon in your coffee, you are set for the morning. There's no way you're not losing weight in the morning. There's no way that's not happening.
I love that. I love that every single morning. And do you recommend 16 ounces, 20 ounces, 32 ounces? Like, is there a certain amount that you recommend that we drink every day?
So in the morning, I recommend 1 to 2 glasses of water. It's
Okay.
really just about having some water. And this is making your water more interesting because the biggest benefit of having infused debloating water is that you're hydrating your body. So if you have 8 to 16 ounces in the morning, it's amazing. And over the course of the day, you could have it, definitely having between 6 and 8 glasses of water is ideal at a minimum to have. But when you get your day started, then you make sure to get that 1 to 2 glasses in the morning. And one more thing is that if you have other things in your fridge that you want to add, like for example, mint. Mint is really incredible because it helps you decrease your sugar cravings and it also decreases overeating. So if you put mint in there and have that infused, that's amazing as well. You can also put anything else you have and it's going to be amazing. Like it's the fact that you're hydrating your body and you're just boosting your metabolism with the benefits of these ingredients, and it's tasting incredible. So you want to do it every day. And that's the other part of boosting your metabolism, is that you're consistent every day.
Hmm. Now, do you recommend that? I love this. Do you recommend that we do the detox water first before, not detox, sorry, it sounds very similar to a detox water that I love, but I love the name belly slimming water way more than detox water. It's way more attractive. So the belly slimming water in the morning, do we drink that first and then we make our cinnamon Americano coffee?
I love it. We're like adding all these amazing adjectives to it. Yes. So it's the flat tummy water.
Yeah, that's
And
what it is.
yes, what I recommend is you wake up first thing is you have your flat tummy water because you really want to get your water in. You have 1 glass. And if you want to have another glass, you can, but at least have your 1 glass. And then you follow it with your coffee with cinnamon. Absolutely. Yes. And then that's your morning, just like setting it off in the morning.
Mm, I love that. Now, do you also recommend, do we have anything to eat or are you more of a faster? What do you recommend? Is this kind of the way to, I know some people that definitely their water and their coffee and then they're set for at least a couple of hours until they eat. But are there food recommendations that you like to make in the morning or would you prefer us to wait?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you're asking that question. So, and what we're doing right now is we're actually walking through what I call the metabolism boosting morning routine. And when you have this morning routine, you boost your metabolism. Absolutely. You will see that you're slimming in your belly. You will see the weight coming down on the scale. No matter if you are in perimenopause, if you are in menopause, if you're in postmenopause, you will boost your metabolism. Women that have not lost weight for decades, their scale starts to completely budge and their body starts to shrink after they start doing these things. And so what I recommend, and one of the things that I talked about adding as well, is I do recommend having a breakfast. I do recommend that when you get up in the morning, your body has not had food for a while, and I want you to get out of that starvation mode because that's what boosts your metabolism as well, is keeping yourself fed throughout the day. And so what part of the metabolism boosting morning is to have a high protein breakfast. And this is really important because you boost your metabolism when you have more protein. And if you're a woman in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, your muscle mass is starting to decrease just as a factor of age, but you can actually respond to that by eating more protein and also, having the movement that's necessary. But one of the things that you can do is when adding protein to your breakfast is really prioritizing having that. And so I can share a few different options of how to add protein in your breakfast. Marisa, would that be helpful?
Absolutely. And I 100% agree with you. Our muscle mass begins to decline, and our muscles are literally who are sponges for glucose. If we want to be able to regulate insulin, we've got to have that muscle mass. And one of my best friends, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, talks about muscle being the organ of longevity. And I feel like that's where we got to focus our efforts. And most of us, 40 plus, are not getting enough protein in our diet. So I love that you're bringing this up. And I'm super excited to hear about some of the recommendations to boost that protein intake on the daily.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely. And we're going to make this delicious. We're going to make this fun because this is all about making things fun. When you make things fun, you want to do it. And it doesn't seem like a chore. It doesn't seem like you are being restrictive and it's something that you don't want to do. You actually look forward to doing this. Like you're like, clear the path. I have to have my metabolism boosting morning routine because it's amazing. I can't go on without it. And so for breakfast, I'll give you 3 options depending on food preferences. And so the first option is if you like eggs and if you're someone that likes to eat eggs, what I recommend is for you to have 2 eggs, but you also add some egg whites to those eggs because 2 eggs is going to give you a certain amount of protein. And we're looking to have about double the protein that you get from 2 eggs. But when you eat more yolks, it actually increases your cholesterol to levels that are unhealthy, that are not recommended. So 2 eggs is a good amount to have, but then you can boost the protein by using egg whites. You could either get the liquid egg whites and have about 1/4 a cup to 1/2 a cup, or you could use 1 to 2 egg whites from eggs. And so you have that, you scramble it or you make it however you like to make it, whether it's an omelet, whether it's hard boiled. If you're making it in a pan, you can put veggies in there. And then I also recommend, one of my other added benefits is to add a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric into your eggs. And when you're adding turmeric into your eggs, turmeric is a beautiful golden yellow color. And often many people don't know how to use it, but it's such a mild spice. It almost has no flavor, but it has incredible benefits of being anti-inflammatory. And so when you're having something that's anti-inflammatory, what it's doing, it's reducing the puffiness in your face. It's reducing the bloating again in your stomach. And it's overall helping your body feel pain-free as well. And really, really lessen any joint pain that might be happening as well. So when you add a 1/2 teaspoon into your eggs, because your eggs are yellow and the turmeric is yellow, you don't even notice that it's there and you're getting all these incredible benefits. And so if you do the eggs, put some veggies in there, and then on the side, have about a 1/2 cup of low sugar fruit, which is what we've already talked about, which is something like berries. And if you want to sprinkle the cinnamon on that, that really makes it very, very metabolism boosting and really like bringing your sugar levels down. So that's one example if you like to have eggs. Now, if you don't like to have eggs or you're looking for a faster option because you're on the go, you have maybe it's Zoom calls all day, or maybe you have to get out and see your clients or your patients, what you can also do is you can do a metabolism boosting morning smoothie. And that's where you do, either water or almond or another non-dairy milk. And you also can add a flaxseed, 2 tablespoons of flaxseed, which I call our secret ingredient because it keeps you full for hours because it has so much fiber in it. And then you also can add a protein powder, a scoop of protein powder, or if you don't want to use protein powder, you can use some Greek yogurt, like about a 1/2 to 3/4 cup or 5.5 ounces of Greek yogurt. And then you can add some low sugar fruit to that, like strawberries taste really good. And what I recommend is doing 1 to 2 cups of spinach or other greens, because when you're drinking your greens and you have all these other things in it, you don't even taste it. It's one of the fastest way to get so much nutrition, and you just drink it in a minute and you can't really taste it because it's in this smoothie. And then if you want, you can add some kind of herb like mint. And then I already talked about the benefits of that. So you could do a metabolism boosting morning smoothie like this. And then finally, if you want another option, you can also do a Greek yogurt, which has a lot of protein in it. And then you can also add some berries in that. And you can add 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, which will give you a little bit of extra fat and fiber. And you can also sprinkle cinnamon on that. And that's kind of like a quick grab and go option for those mornings where you have like 0 time. So these are all different options depending on your preferences, but they're helping you get protein into your breakfast, which is going to boost your metabolism. If you do this for 5 days, if you do the 3 steps that we've talked about, you will notice that your metabolism is boosting, no matter how stuck you feel that it is. And you'll feel satisfied at the entire time.
I love the different options. I also love because a lot of the women listen to this podcast have like food intolerances. So some can't eat dairy, some can't eat eggs. So there's this option. So I love the protein green smoothie. I love the egg option. I love the Greek yogurt option as well, because all of these are delivering some serious protein. But depending on what you're able to eat and what your food preferences are, or if you have concerns around autoimmune conditions, then there's definitely options for each and every person. So I love that so much. And
Mhm.
this is the metabolic boosting morning routine. I love it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And we talk through every single piece of it and how it is boosting your metabolism, and it all comes together and you feel really good. You see, like the way that we've talked about this, you're not feeling like you're deprived or you're restricted. You actually feel like you're on vacation. You know, you feel like you're like treating yourself. And see, this is the reason that other ways often, like all those mainstream diets and all those mainstream ways of boosting your metabolism, they don't work because they're always focused on taking things away. And what we're talking about here today is about what to add. What else can you add so that you're actually having a positive association with this lifestyle transformation? And once you start doing this, it's no longer a quick fix, it's actually a lifestyle transformation. And that's what the difference is.
I love that so much. Now, I'm guessing that you're recommending we continue to get a good amount of protein during lunch and dinner as well. I mean, that's kind of the big thing here is making sure that we're getting that protein so that we're helping to support our muscles, especially our 40s and beyond. It can definitely be more challenging. But then, in terms of, anything to be adding, especially for dinners or maybe even late night snacks, I'll be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of late night snacks in general, but I'd love to know if you had late night snack recommendations that you think could move the needle for women.
Oh, yes. Oh, so, the late night snack is definitely the moment, like the late night moment is often the time where the whole day, we've been busy, whether we've been working on moving ourselves up in our career, whether we've been working on getting in front of other people, or whether we've been taking care of our children or everything.
Mhm.
And it's the final moment at the end of the day where we can sit on the couch, breathe a huge sigh of relief. And often what we say is, I want to treat myself. I want to treat. I deserve to relax. And that often can come with very, very unhealthy convenience foods, such as ice cream, such as chocolate that's not healthy, such as wine. And it becomes a habit. And so it's every night. You may have been healthy all day. And at the end of the day, you have this relationship with food that's causing you to look at unhealthy foods as a way to treat yourself. So what
Mhm.
we want to do is actually change your mindset of how you're looking at what's actually treating yourself, because you're right, you do deserve to treat yourself. But is it really making you feel good the next morning when you wake up after having ice cream or wine? Or would you feel fresher and more energetic if you fed yourself with something that was cleaner and nicer for your body, but that you still enjoyed, that was still fun for you? And
Right.
so we
Yeah,
created.
that will make you bloated.
Yes. Oh, that will make you bloated, like the ice cream and all those things. Exactly. Absolutely. That's a lot of times why we'll wake up feeling bloated. If you have wine, there's nothing wrong with wine. I mean, I have it, but when it becomes something that you're having several glasses a night every night,
Yeah.
you're definitely going to get the effects. And sometimes you don't even realize how you're feeling until you take it out. And then you can't believe how good you feel. You can't believe the difference. So absolutely. So this is going to decrease bloating as well the next morning. And it's also going to help you sleep better. So a couple of things that you could do is, number one is you could do something like, if you're craving ice cream, you could replace it with something like that's similar, like for example, the Greek yogurt that we talked about. You could do a Greek yogurt, you could do cinnamon, you could do berries. It's going to be higher protein. It's going to be delicious. Another option along those same lines is what I call grandma's healthy apple pie. And grandma's healthy apple pie is where you get all the good stuff from an apple pie with none of the unhealthy stuff, but it tastes pretty good still. And so what you do is you take a half cup of cottage cheese, which cottage cheese is packed with protein. You cut a fourth of an apple into small pieces, and then you sprinkle an eighth teaspoon of cinnamon in it, and you eat it, and you'll find that it's very satisfying. It's like the cottage cheese. It tastes like very filling, and it's like the crust. Now, if you're a non-dairy person and that doesn't sound good for you, what you could do is you could do what I love to have at night, which is called fire tea. And so what fire tea is it's actually a great replacement to wine because it relaxes you, but it doesn't have the calories of wine. And so what fire tea is you boil 1 cup of water. You can make it for 5 or 6 nights because it does take 20 minutes to make. And so you could do like 5 or 6 cups of water, and then you add about 2 inches of ginger that's been grated. And what ginger does is it's perfect at night because it helps you increase your digestion. And so it helps you digest that food that you had for dinner, and it's going to help you sleep really nicely because your food has been digested. So you do that, and then you put in 1 cinnamon stick. And so a cinnamon stick is going to it's going to unroll the cinnamon. And we already talked about the benefits of cinnamon. And when you use a cinnamon stick, what it does is there's been multiple studies that show that it actually decrease or fire away your belly fat. So when you're drinking, that's why I call it fire tea, because you're firing away your belly fat, but you feel like you're in luxury when you're drinking this fire tea. Now, this one tea recipe has actually cured so many women's late night cravings and has really completed that entire day of being healthy, because you start off with your metabolism boosting morning routine and then you end with this fire tea that's really helping you, continue firing away belly fat. So that's another option. So we have a couple, food options, a tea option, and then, you can also do something as simple as having a cup of almond milk, putting a half teaspoon of turmeric because it's anti-inflammatory, putting a dash of coconut oil, and then you sprinkle some black pepper because black pepper and turmeric go very well together. And that's a golden milk recipe that is really going to relax you, and it's going to actually cause your muscles to relax because of the anti-inflammatory benefits of turmeric. And so that's another item to have at night. So those are a few different options. And then you can also do like carrots and hummus. You can also do, celery with 1 to 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, or carrots with that. Or you can also, this is what I often suggest, is you can also go to sleep. Because it's really, that's what you could do. Because, at night, it's easy to lose control. You could find yourself in the pantry, you could have the best intentions, but you kind of lose control when it's too late. And so actually going to sleep or moving yourself away from the family room or from the kitchen area and actually going to your bedroom and just ending the night there can often help you really boost your metabolism, because you're just taking yourself out of the structural situation where it's so convenient and easy. And that's actually a no-fail way that you're going to be healthy going into the night. And you're going to have an incredible sleep that night too.
I 100% agree. I mean, one of my favorite things to do is I love a good rooibos tea. It's because it's decaffeinated and it's got a little bit of a rooibos tea always has a creaminess to it. And then I just sprinkle some cinnamon. And it's usually my dessert because there's like that creaminess makes it feel like maybe it's something else. It's just tea. It is what it is. But the real reason why I'm always concerned about us eating too late at night is really our lymphatic system. So the lymph system in our brain. And if we eat like 3 hours prior or earlier prior to going to bed, you can tell maybe I did that last night, that our lymphatics aren't able to work properly. So our glial cells aren't able to shrink down so that our central spinal fluid goes into the brain and cleans up all of the amyloid plaque. And so what we see is if our brain can't do what I call the brain car wash at nighttime, we end up getting more inflammation inside of our brain. We start to see brain fog. We start to notice having memory issues. And so if we can eat 3 hours or earlier before bedtime and no late night snacks, because then that puts us in that window, we have a better chance of doing that nightly cleaning that our brain so desperately needs.
Love it. Oh my gosh. I love that. I love that. That's definitely, oh my gosh, that would be such a benefit. Wow. And then, you can have water if you want to, like the infused
Or the
deep
fire
water,
tea is
or the fire tea. Yes, exactly. Have that. And then if you need something, but a lot of the reasons when we do late night snacks is because of habit. And it's just having something to do with your hands or feeling like you need a treat. So, even not even talking about food, you can give yourself a different kind of treat, like taking a shower or a bath or something that's even completely different than food. But as a shortcut, you can use some of these other options that we've talked about.
I love this so much. And I love not only all the swaps, but how it totally has so many incredible hormone and metabolic benefits for our body. As we're closing up, I wanted to, because I know so many women are listening to this, like, oh my gosh, I am loving these recommendations. Where do we get to know more about you? And I know that you've got something coming up that I'd love for my ladies to plug into.
Yes, absolutely. So I have a really special 5-day slim down for fierce feminine leaders where I'm going to be going into more detail about options for the metabolism boosting morning routine. I'm going to be teaching what you do exactly at your lunch and dinner. So I'm going to be talking about what we call the tested and perfected fat burning food framework, which makes it very simple for you to know what to put on your plate to really boost your metabolism all throughout the day. And so this is a 5-day workshop where I'm going to also be providing a workbook that is the guide that will help women who are looking to lose 20 to 60 pounds. It gives you the guide and the framework of exactly what steps to take so that you can walk down this roadmap and it will feel completely easy for you to boost your metabolism and get your weight off. And so you could sign up for this workshop. I'm going to be live teaching so much, giving you the workbook right when you join. And the way that you can join us is masalabody.com/slim down. And you can get your spot there and we will absolutely absolutely show you the exact steps to get there, and you'll get your workbook right when you join us.
Oh, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And I will be definitely sharing this in the show notes so you guys can go and plug in. And then can we go and check you out at masalabody.com as well if we want to just see what you've got going on? Anywhere else you love for us to come and find you?
Yes, you can find me at masalabody.com, my website. And when you find me there, I'll send you a recipe book that has 7 metabolism boosting recipes to lose your first 7 pounds. And then I'm also very active on Instagram at masalabody, where I show you, the context of background of my children, lots of easy recipes, lots of inspiration, lots of interviews. And so you can check me out there as well. And I would love that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Oh my goodness, this is such a fun conversation. And I just love the recommendations that you're bringing to the table. It makes it feel so easy and so fun. And I'm so excited for my ladies to check out the workshop that you've got going on.
Thanks so much. I've had such a great time talking with you, Marisa.
You too, honey.